Please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. Let's get it. So I hope you guys have been taking care of yourself. I hope you guys have been enjoying your lives, being happy and staying out of the way. Please slide over, let Big Man through. I need my space. So let's get it. Today I'm gonna be bringing to you a topic. We in 2026 now. This is for all the people that are in meaningful marriages and that have been trying to do whatever they can and be the best person that they can to save their marriage. So when you've done all you can have done to save your marriage, so basically when you truly, and the key word is truly, done all you can to save your marriage, there's a certain quiet clarity that settles in. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean it stops hurting. It means your conscience is clearer. Here's how people usually know they've reached that point. Signs you've done all you could. You owned up to your mistakes without excuses. I'm going to say that once again. You owned up to your mistakes without excuses. So basically, if you settle in, and this is a very interesting topic, because you would think that you're owning up to stuff and mistakes that you did in your current marriage. You know what I'm saying? But this is kind of special. This is kind of special when you have to go back 20, 30 years, and you still have to and you owned up to your mistakes without excuses. So you get blamed for things that you done 20 and 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And you totally have changed your life. You know what I'm saying? From when you're a young man until now. So obviously, your 20s should be a lot more different than you living in your 40s. You know what I'm saying? There has to be some type of growth shown, seen, or displayed. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely one of the biggest signs that you owned up to your mistakes without excuses. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you owned up to your mistakes past. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't, if you owned up to your mistakes in the past, you shouldn't really be drained about what you did in your past, especially if if you have made significant change in your life to become the man that you are. You know what I mean? That's very, very big right there. Also too, see, you change behaviors, not just made promises. So if you change behaviors, you know what I'm saying, in your marriage, your changed behavior should never be overlooked from what you did 20 or 30 years down the line. It's just like you going around in circles. You know what I'm saying? You're constantly getting blamed, or you constantly getting thrown in your face things that you've done when you didn't even know what you wanted to do. So you basically subscribe to a marriage, and you did the marriage for all the right things. Especially number one thing is love. Love overall. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what people are really doing or were really done in their marriage or whatever, and that were prompted them to get married. But my number one thing is love. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna marry someone, you have to do it out of love. You know what I'm saying? Because love conquers everything. That's what one of the Bible scriptures says. It says that his number one command that Jesus taught was love. So there you go. So if you change behaviors, you just haven't made promises, and you're still going round and round in circles about your past and what you did, you know what I'm saying? That's a red flag right there. That something is really deeply wrong. You know what I'm saying? May be trauma, may be hurt. You know what I'm saying? Or may be blockages that you really haven't got over. You know what I'm saying? But you shouldn't, whether you're the husband or wife, should be constantly blaming your spouse for things that you did 20 and 30 years down the line, especially when you made the conscious decision as a young man to actually get married. You know what I'm saying? Even though you didn't know what you were doing or what you really wanted. The number one thing is, if you did it out of love, then what you came into before, Shane, should be like a learning lesson. You should be able to learn from that, So if you came this far and your significant other can't see that you tried your hardest to change yourself and be a better person, and they can't see growth, then that may be something for you to think about and consider. Also, too, you communicated honestly even when it was uncomfortable. This is another big one. You know what I'm saying? If you in the beginning, you know what I'm saying, if you have a meaningful or a long marriage, I'm talking about a marriage that lasts more than 20 years, more than 15 years, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and say for instance, or for example, if you have communicated in the past and your communication hasn't been really read or really honest, you know what I'm saying? And you change for the better, and in all honesty, you start being honest. And then when your other half, whether it be the husband or wife, can't take the honesty, I think that's a little bit more than just being hard at the time. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of deep resentment and a lot of trauma behind you currently being honest. You know what I'm saying? Because you always have to go through the fact that if your other half is telling you that they don't trust you, you know what I'm saying, and that they think that you're always lying, and then the hardest thing is for the person that's actually telling the truth, for them to feel like they're being that they can't be trusted. That's a hard thing. Especially it's like if you get blamed for something you didn't do, and you keep explaining your innocence. After a while, it's like, what more can you do to explain and prove yourself? After a certain while in a relationship like that or a marriage, you shouldn't have to always continuously prove yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's another red flag. You basically communicated honesty even when it is uncomfortable, and that's a very thing to do too. If you started off on a pattern where you weren't so truthful, and then you start manning up or womaning up, and you start telling the truth or whatever, even though it can be very, very uncomfortable for you to do that, because when you first started out, that wasn't the normal thing for you to do. And it also takes courage too. Not only does it takes courage, it takes time to develop skills like that, communication and honesty. So that was a big one right there. You fought for unity, not just to be right. You prayed, reflected, sought counsel, faith-based or professional. You stopped reacting out of fear, control, or pride. You respected their boundaries even when it hurt. At that stage, love shifts from grasping to releasing. A hard truth, said gently. A marriage takes two willing hearts. You can't pour everything into it and still not be able to save it alone. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you reached the limit of what one person can carry. I'll sip this water right here, take a break. Please, if you are still here after 8 minutes and 25 seconds, there's no reason why you shouldn't like, share, subscribe, and comment, and hit that notification bell. What a good boy. Oh man, enough of that. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. Let's get it. A marriage takes two willing hearts. You can't pour everything into it and still not be able to save it alone. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you reached the limit of what one person can carry. What comes next? Grief for what you hoped is it would be. Peace, knowing you didn't abandon your vows lightly. That's important to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? The peace part of it, and you didn't abandon your vows lightly. So when you have to come to conclusion, and you have to come to terms that you tried everything that you can do, you know what I'm saying? There should be a little bit of peace of knowing you didn't abandon your vows lightly. I don't know what other people are doing, whatever. I'm just speaking out of what I think is the right thing to do. And especially I would take my vows very seriously if they were or wasn't vows. You know what I'm saying? I would take my vows very seriously, and I'm the type of person, I don't play when it comes to commitment, and I don't play when it comes to promise. You know what I'm saying? This should go for anything, but especially for people of the Scorpio zodiac sign, where they're very loyal and very protective. So that's really important, that you don't abandon your vows lightly, and you really truly, like I said, the word truly try to do everything that you can to save your marriage. You feel what I'm saying, y'all? Growth, because suffering with integrity refines you. Surrender, letting go of the outcome, not the love you gave. From a faith lens, like it's basically faith based. This is very important to me. Sometimes God doesn't restore the relationship; He restores the person. You're not walking away because you didn't care. You stepped forward because you did. If you want, matter of fact, I'm just gonna bring you guys into it. So I'm going to do a segment that's off of this one that I'm doing, and bring you more deeper, and so you can have more clarity in what it is, or when you tried your best to save your marriage and all else fails. So I'm going to discern whether it's a season of waiting versus ending. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's two parts of it. It's waiting for it to get better versus coming to an end or coming to a completion. I'm also going to go into understanding how to heal without becoming bitter or closed off. So basically, this is a sacred, painful crossroad I'll walk. If you slowly and clearly, I'll walk through it with you slowly and clearly. So waiting versus ending, how to discern the difference. Waiting is appropriate when there is still humility on both sides, even if faint. Your spouse shows some accountability, not just blame. So if your spouse is showing you and explaining to you and going through the emotions of accepting their accountability, and they're not just blaming, that's a good thing. But when you constantly are getting blamed, and you feel like the other person has no accountability for their actions, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not just a you thing, and it's not just a them thing, you know what I'm saying? It's a both. You both have to sit down and talk things out and have some accountability, you know what I'm saying? It can't just be one-sided. So your spouse shows some accountability and not just blame. Communication through strain is not abusive or manipulative. So time apart is being used for growth, not avoidance. You feel called to wait from peace, not fear or loss. Your spirit feels anchored even while hurting. Waiting feels heavy, but you still have hope without illusion. So that's when waiting is appropriate. So all of those things, we'll just go over those quickly right now, to re-innovate and to update you if you're just coming in here at 13 minutes, where you shouldn't really be coming in here at 13 minutes, because this is not a live. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. So waiting versus ending, how to discern the difference. Waiting is appropriate. So if you are waiting for things to pan out, these are all of the appropriate things, just going over them real more quick again, that you should do. There is still humility on both sides, even if your spouse shows some accountability, not just blame. So basically, they're showing up, and they're giving you some accountability and not just blaming you for everything that's wrong in your marriage. Communication, though strained, is not abusive or manipulative. Time apart is being used for growth, not for avoidance. I'm going to say that one again. Time apart is being used for growth, not for avoidance. You feel called to wait from peace, not fear or loss. Your spirit feels anchored even when hurting. And waiting feels heavy, but it's still hope without illusion. So now we're going to jump into the ending stage of it. Ending or releasing the outcome is appropriate when you're the only one fighting. The same wounds repeat with no repentance or repair. I'm going to say that one again. The same wounds repeat. So you're just repeating wounds over and over and over, especially those old those old, long, drawn out wounds that you should have been, that you should have came to some conclusion and made peace with. 15, 20 years down the line, every time you guys get into an argument or every time there's something negative to be said, you're just opening up old wounds. If you keep doing that and doing that and doing that, when will you ever grow? You're shrinking yourself to keep the peace. Boundaries are consistently violated. Waiting is destroying your mental, physical, and spiritual health. That's a big one. I'll say that again, nice and slow. Waiting is destroying your mental, physical, and spiritual health. Also, too, you feel called to release from clarity, not anger. Ending feels devastated, no doubt that it does, but also strangely honest. So, so if you're in a marriage, you know what I'm saying. Hopefully, you got married for all the right things. So, the ending is definitely gonna feel devastating. There's gonna be a lot of resentment and maybe even some bitterness there, and it may be a lot of hurt. But also it's strangely honest, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna recap those real quick. So this is when you're basically in the ending stage or releasing the outcome. This is always when it's appropriate, when you're the only one fighting. You can't be the only one fighting to save your marriage and come together and try to make things work. That's not gonna work. The same wounds repeat itself, no repentance or repair. You're shrinking yourself to keep the peace. Boundaries are consistently violated. Waiting is destroying your mental, physical, and spiritual health. You feel called to release from clarity, not anger. And like I said before, ending definitely always feels devastating, but also strangely honest. God does not ask you to destroy yourself to prove your love. I'm gonna say that one once again. God does not ask you to destroy yourself, so you shouldn't have to destroy yourself. You shouldn't have to be stressed out. You shouldn't have to be ruined when you have to prove yourself. After a while, if you've been in a meaningful marriage, after a while, you shouldn't have to prove it. If you have to prove yourself over and over and over again, it's like, what is that other person really doing in the marriage if they don't trust them? So if you constantly have to prove yourself, that really means that you're no trust. So if you can't be trusted, what kind of feeling is that to be if you're in a marriage that you're trying to make work and you think that your other half can't trust you? That's a real horrible feeling to be in, especially if you're showing improving and you're being the best person that you can be. That's not right. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. The most important question to ask yourself also, not do I still love them, but is my staying producing life or producing slow death? We'll just let that sink in and I'm gonna ask that question a little bit more slower, with a little bit more clarity. The most important question to ask yourself if you are in a marriage that you have done everything you can to try to save it. Not do you still love them, but is my staying producing life or a slow death? How to heal, whether you wait or release. Healing is the same path. The directions just differ. One, grief fully. Don't spiritualize the pain away. Grief is not weakness. It's love with nowhere to go. So you have love, but you have nowhere to go. You know what I'm saying? Grief is weakness. It's love with nowhere to go. Cry without explaining it. Limit honesty, even anger toward God is still a relationship. So, how to heal, whether you wait or release, you're gonna come into to feelings of even anger towards God. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking at God as the headship and the maker and ruler of the human marriage, it can touch your face, and you will be angry towards God. You know what I mean? It's a kind of a hard pill to swallow, especially if you kept prayer and you kept God at the center of your life, and it still seems like nothing is working. You know what I'm saying? It's just human nature. So also too, loss must be felt before it can be transformed. Two, forgive without reconciling. Forgiveness releases you. Reconciliation requires change. They are not the same and confusing. Them keeps wounds open. Restore your body. Your body has been in survival mode, so sleep, hydration, and sunlight. Walks alone. Um, Gentle strength, not punishment. A regulated body helps a wounded heart make wise decisions. Rebuild identity outside the marriage. Four, you are more than a spouse trying to save something. A person waiting for someone else to choose you. Ask, who am I becoming through this path? What kind of man is being refined here? Five, also too, release control, not responsibility. You can say, I did my part. I released the outcome. That sentence is free. So here's a little here's a little grounded prayer to put in words if you're on a spiritual path and you have kept guard, or you actually keeping guard as front and center in your marriage. You know what I'm saying? So this is what it is. God, if this is waiting, give me patience without self-betrayal. If this is relief, give me courage without bitterness. I trust you with what I cannot fix. So basically, it's a grounded prayer that you can jump into. God, if this is waiting, give me patience without self-betrayal. If this is relief, give me courage without bitterness. I trust you with what I can't fix. So one final truth, and this is very, very important too, and I'll let you guys go and get what you guys need to do for the day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, one final truth. Waiting is not passive. Suffering ending is not failure. Both require courage. Both can be acts of obedience. Um, so I'll go over that real quick. Waiting is not passive. Suffering ending is not failure. Both require courage. Both can be acts of obedience. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. I hope that you guys can take into consideration this video and actually ask yourself some of these questions and know basically when you know that it still can be worked on, and when you know that it's coming to an end. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in this world, all things must come to an end. I give credit and I salute to all you husbands and wives that continuously day out and day in, no matter how bad the situation is, you try to honor your vows, and you try to be there to uplift and to carry your spouse through their hard and their trying times. Maybe they may be sick, maybe they may be going through something mental. You know what I'm saying? That's when things really, really get the hardest. But at the same time, if you're striving to be the person that you can be, and you totally changed your life from okay to better, and you're trying to make way, and all else fails, what actually can you really do? You don't want to stay in that type of situation if it's just creating bitterness, it's creating anger, it's creating fear, and it's creating unhealthy patterns. So you have to sit back and ask yourself, how much more long do you want this to take effect? You know what I'm saying? So I say this to say that, man, if you can save your marriage and you can put God at the forefront, because I'm going to tell you right now, you are not going to be able to do save your marriage. Counselors are not going to be able to save your marriage. In this day and time, Satan, the devil, walks around like a roaring lion, seeking to devour someone at any and every time. You know what I'm saying? So you have to safeguard yourself with the most highest tool. And when it comes to marriage, God is the original creator, and He gave the option to us to take the woman in marriage. So I hope everybody can get some meaningful, interesting ways on how to decipher what's what, and to not just give up, and honor their vows and truly try to make it work. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, man, when you put your all into it and there's just nothing much more you can do at this time, you said all your prayers, then you might want to consider some other options. You know what I'm saying? That only entails what you want to do. I'm not saying or telling you to do this or do that. I think that you should be an adult by now. You should have your own brain, and you should know what you want to do or what you have to do. So please like, share, subscribe, comment. Until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I bring this type of content to you guys because I love you. I want you to excel and to reach higher heights. You know what I'm saying? This channel is based off of truth, love, compassion, integrity, clarity, transparency, and honesty. Peace. I'm out.